All right, so a van travels 220 miles on 10 gallons of gas. Find out how many gallons of gas the van needs to travel 550 miles. We're going to set this up as a proportion, and how this is going to look is that we're going to write 220 miles on top, and on the bottom, the amount of gallons of gas that it takes to do it, 10 gallons. And if miles is on the top, then on the other side of the proportion, we need to also have miles on top. So when they say 550 miles, we know where that's got to go. It's got to go on top because it was on top on the right-hand side. So it's got to be on top on the left-hand side as well. And then we say, okay, that's X gallons because they're asking how many gallons. That's what we don't know. So multiplying the diagonals, this times this equals this times this, we get 220x equals 10 times 550, or 220x equals 5,500. And now, of course, dividing both sides by 220. And we got x equals. Now let's figure this out here. Do this mentally instead of writing all over your paper these marks, but this 0 cancels out this 0. Okay? So what do we get? We get this resulting 550 over 22. And notice that these are both divisible by 11. So I'll mark it so you can just see it. That cancels out. These two can both be divided by 11. And what do you get here? 11 times 5 and 11 times 2. And now this also still has this 0 on here. Okay, so notice that that's 50 over 2. And what is 50 divided by 2? It is 25. So we get x equals 25. And since we know this is a word problem, we know what this number is representing. It's representing the number of gallons. We write x equals 25 gallons, or x equals 25 gallons of gas, if you want to be a little bit more specific. Okay, and doing that will demonstrate that you understand that you're solving a word problem and you know what it is that you found. Okay. School guidelines require that there must be at least 2 chaperones for every 25 students going on a school trip. This is a little bit of an interesting problem because it doesn't work out exactly, but you'll see what's going on here. Okay, 2 chaperones for every 25. Let's set it up as a proportion. 2 chaperones per, or for every 25 students. Equals how many chaperones for 74 students? X chaperones for 74 students. Okay, and then we're going to multiply the diagonals. So this times this equals this times this. And what we're going to get as a result here is 25 times x equals 2 times 74, or 25x equals 148. And of course you need to divide both sides by whatever the coefficient of x is, so that's 25. So we've got 148 divided by 25, or x equals. Now, do it over here on the side. 148 divided by 25. Actually, if this was 150, it would go in exactly 6 times. So it can't quite go in 6 times. So we say it's going in 5 times, and that's 125. 23 left, and if we added a 0 and brought it down, 230. Well, I know that 100 is 4 25s, 200 is 8 25s, and then another 30, we can get another 25 out of there, so 9, right? 5.9, that's 225. And we get 5 left over. And if we annexed the 0 and brought it down, 25 goes into 52 times. Okay, so how many chaperones must there be for 74 students? Well, does it make sense to have 5.92 chaperones? It does not. And this is an interesting problem in that when we decide how we need to round, we need to not just round like we normally round a number out of context of any problem, but we always need to round up, because if we don't round up, then we are not going to have the proper number of chaperones. We need to have more than exactly as much or more than the required number of chaperones. We cannot have less. So there's no way to round down if it's not a perfect number. But anyway, this does round up. So how do we round up? We round up to, say, 6 chaperones are needed. Be careful with these types of problems and make sure that you're always saying, well, if we round down, that's actually not sufficient. We need to round up.